Recently, I put out a call and I asked people, what is a topic where you need healing? If you were to go in search of inspirational videos or to find a resource of support for something that you specifically are seeking healing around, what would that be? And numerous people replied, healing the relationship with the inner child. Yes, the inner child, that's where I need healing. And it inspired me. Because for many of us, we feel disconnected. We don't have a relationship with that precious, sensitive nature within us. Maybe we relate that to who we were when we were a child, when we were present and wide-eyed, sensitive and open and trusting. So for me, the phrase inner child, it's one that I use occasionally, but not often. And I'll explain why. That sensitive, precious, caring presence of your true self, the you, who you once were, who was open-hearted and playful and untainted by trauma. Maybe that part of you is actually still who you really are. That sensitive, precious being within you is actually your true nature. And you may feel very disconnected. Maybe who you were as a child is where you can relate to experiencing those qualities. But the reason, that I don't necessarily use the term inner child very often is because if we associate those beloved qualities with who we were as a child, then we run the risk of seeing that as past tense. My inner child is this, old part of me that's hidden inside. This precious, tender nature, maybe the part of me that's hurting. And I associate that with childhood wounds or the part of me that I have trouble accessing. So I want to reframe that to say that your inner child is actually your inner self. And that inner self is your true self. Yes, who you are right now is you, the name, the story, who you have grown into being. But if you associate yourself when you were sensitive and trusting and precious and benevolent and open-hearted and wide-eyed, if you associate that with something in the past, the truth is, that's who you really are, that's who you still are. However, going through the life experience and experiencing trauma, the many experiences that you've been through that were scary and painful, that encouraged you to hide that precious, sensitive nature within you, to protect yourself, to defend yourself, to avoid. You're not that far away, and it wasn't past tense. It's right here. And if you're seeking to heal your relationship with your inner child, what I imagine you might be seeking is to feel safe enough to open up and be yourself, to love yourself, to come back in harmony and oneness with your true self. And that may be challenging. For many of us, that's a big hurdle. That's a big mountain to climb, because for many of us, we don't feel that way. We don't feel precious and innocent. We don't feel deserving. We don't feel sensitive. We've learned to desensitize, to build up that callous tissue around that tenderness. So, inner child, I want to come back in contact with that part of myself, with the part of me that's hidden inside, that is present, that is love, wide-eyed and trusting. Trust is a big thing. It's because we've experienced those traumatic wounds that we've disconnected from trust itself. Trust being this openness, the openness of the heart. So once again, if you want to connect with the inner child, chances are you want to feel safe enough to trust, enough to be vulnerable and present right here and right now. And what is my answer? What does that come down to? How do we heal our relationship with the inner child? We have to heal our relationship with ourselves. We have to be aware of the importance of a healthy relationship with ourselves. Because for many of us, it's not safe inside. We don't feel like we can be vulnerable and open, like we can be tender and present. And yes, maybe the original wounding is associated with someone else who hurt you. You learn to distrust because of someone else. But I want to ask you this question. How do you treat yourself? Do you create a safe environment within yourself to speak freely, to be yourself? Each day, do you feel permission to be here, to be present? Or do you reprimand yourself? Do you judge yourself? Do you speak poorly to yourself? Do you encourage yourself to feel unsafe and hide away? Yes, inner child, but your tender nature, is that being hidden away because the environment within you is just simply unsafe? If so, then your work is to become consciously aware of what you say to yourself and how you treat yourself right here. And that's going to require you to be accountable, to be in your power, to really witness the truth of how you treat yourself. We have an extensive history with our family members, our partners, the people we used to be in relationship with, et cetera, et cetera. There are many people that you can identify a lengthy history with. And maybe it's a painful history, and it's in depth, and maybe you don't get along. Maybe you don't trust them. But there is one person that you have the deepest history with, that you've spent the most time with, that you've probably experienced war and fear, and you've been through the shadows together. You've survived together, and you've battled it out together. That's yourself. That's you and you. And if you are not treating yourself with care and respect and presence and compassion and love, it's possible you don't trust yourself. And that true, tender, precious, benevolent nature that may seem childlike doesn't feel safe enough to be here now. And that's your work, that's big work. That's going to require you to be very aware, to start taking note, to recognize, where are you being judgmental? If you were a child, let's externalize this and visualize a child. If you were in the presence of a child who was sensitive and vulnerable and caring and open-hearted and trusting, and you said something hurtful to them, they might cry. They might feel ashamed. They might want to hide away. They might feel very, very hurt. And chances are, if you do treat yourself with judgment, with disrespect, with hurtful words. You feel all those things. So make a change. Recognize how sacred, how beautiful, how precious, how deserving, how benevolent, how pure, how caring you are. And be very mindful how you treat yourself. Because you're listening. You're learning. You're feeling it all. You want to heal the relationship with your inner child. Show up and treat yourself with love, with care, right here and now. Be mindful, be caring. And over time, you'll build trust in yourself. You'll come back together as one. The part of you that may be hidden, your sensitivity that may be tucked away, and the part of you that's operating day to day, you'll come back as one. And that's powerful, because self-trust is self-confidence. And when you're confident enough to be present, you will be present. That relationship that may be wounded from years of disruption and war inside of you with yourself will become a relationship of love. It'll become a healthy relationship. And you'll feel healed. You won't feel disconnected. You'll feel safe. Safe in the presence of yourself. And that vulnerability can thrive. Vulnerability, sensitivity, an open heart that's trusting, that's confident. Okay? So be kind, be caring, be gentle, be compassionate.